The following program is a paid commercial which has been paid for by the advertiser, whose products and/or services are featured in this program.
I'm feeling the good vibes, good vibes.
Hey, Marvelous. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No.
Melissa's not here. I'm so sad. I'm going to miss her. So we have
lovely Leah.
Lovely Leah with us. Miss Leah Wood, thank you so much for being here. She's also part of our special ed department.
Yes, I
at
am.
Region 19. We're here at the K-Fox Studios with our Good Vibes Only R19 Sped Lounge. I'm very excited. And can you tell us a little bit about who's joining us today?
Oh, I have no idea who this guy is.
I've never seen him before in my life with you. He is. He's with us.
This is Dr. Armando Aguirre. You just wanted me to say his name.
Yeah, that's right.
He's our Executive Director for ESC Region 19.
I'm so excited.
Proud of it.
Yes, I'm proud of it.
Yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
that. So to kind of get us started a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about what got you into education? Because we're Education Service Center, right? Education first word.
Yeah.
So just thinking in terms of like a little bit about your journey.
Just a quick
Yeah.
overview of how I got to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. Well, I tell you what, when growing up, I love sports, and so like many others thought, okay, I could coach, right? I played sports, I wanted to coach. But what was interesting as I started in college and I started taking the courses, I found a love for journalism. Mm-hmm. So I went from wanting to coach to wanting to teach journalism.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of happened, and so I ended up being a teacher at Jefferson High School. And
Not Jeff.
Not Jeff. Yeah.
Representing.
So you can't say Jefferson without.
Once a fox, always a fox. And so, and now I'm a silver fox. No, but all kidding aside, it was a great time. I was there for 6, almost 7 years. And in that time, I was able to really get a feel for how students can really do well when given the right opportunities.
Yeah.
And so because it was a journalism class, we competed in various events, from the yearbook to our newspaper. So our intent was to have the best newspaper possible.
Of course.
And compete. And so we reached a point where we competed in New Mexico, and we actually won the best of show.
Ooh,
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so when you think about it, right, you have these students from Jefferson High School there was one time where I actually was in our first tournament, our first writing competition, a UIL competition,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually, one of the sponsors, not that he was being ugly, I think he was trying to be funny, and
Right.
he said, Jeff showed up.
Ooh.
And
Challenge
I thought,
met.
challenge accepted, right? So then that first competition, it was amazing because we won.
Nice.
Oh,
So
you
then I was able to
see?
look at him like, so what do you think of Jeff?
Jeff showed up.
We're here. So that happened, and then year in after that, we kept doing. We're competitive. We're competitive. Great. Many a student went on to get into journalism, get into writing, become professional
easy.
photographers, and so to me, that just speaks volumes. That if you tap into an individual's interests and wants, and then give them the opportunity to succeed, they'll do it. They
Exactly.
will. And so they proved it there, right? So that's when I realized, okay, how do you impact more people? And really, that's always been my drive. So how do you impact more people? And so I got into administration, and it started there. But being an assistant principal was okay, but it didn't allow me to work with students in the capacity I wanted to work with.
Right.
So I was fortunate that I became a principal in less than 2 years from the time I became a assistant principal. So now I was at Bell Elementary. And same thing, you have a school in the south side of El Paso who was struggling in trying to meet the state mandates. And in that short period of time, I also realized teachers, like students, they just need a little bit of support, a little guidance, someone taking interest in their well-being.
Exactly.
And
A little
then-
love. Teachers
Yeah.
need to be loved.
Yeah, they need some love. And so we did that. And because of what happened there, we went from a low-performing campus to a recognized campus. in about 3 years.
Amazing.
So yeah, I felt real good about that, right? And so
Right.
from there, we just kept it going. I was fortunate from there to go get hired I opened a brand new school, Cordova Middle School,
Oh, wow.
and that went well. So
That's nice to be able to open a new building, right? Because that doesn't happen very often in education.
No,
You usually
no.
inherit something else or somebody else's mess or
Right.
somebody else's
Their bad
high-performing
plumbing.
school, but now
Yeah.
you're like, great, I got to follow that. Right.
yeah. So, but there again, when you do that, you find that this particular school, Cordova Middle School at the time, now it's not even that. It's actually now it's not even going to exist anymore, which is kind of sad. But what was interesting there is that they took three pre-K schools and created one middle school, because at the time there's just a great amount of apathy in the three schools. I mean, the
Right.
kids weren't performing in various events. There's only one football team. The other two didn't have a football team. So it kind of,
Right.
we wanted to get get the kids to get pumped again about going to school and doing well for themselves.
Right.
So then that's where Cordova Middle School came in. And so it was interesting how it played out. And that was, to me, another telltale sign that when you give students an opportunity and you give them that pathway, they're going to do it.
Right.
They went that first year, we competed in UIL, and I told them, this is I think a key phase that or thought or philosophy that's critical. I told them, you only have one chance to make that first impression.
Yeah.
I go, here we are, and there's many of people who are doubting that we're going to do well. So let's prove them wrong. Let's take this
There it is.
opportunity. Let's take this year and let's make it work. And they did. They took it to heart. They worked on it, and lo and behold, that at the end of that first year, they won the UIL competition in the district. They won the track championship, both boys and girls,
Great.
for the district. So it just kind of tells you that when you give students opportunity, it just changes their thought process. And so that's what I'm excited about. And then I was fortunate to do it again at another middle school. But I'll fast forward to where I was the early college principal,
Right.
which was another first in El Paso. And to me, Mission Early College really set the tone for what students can do.
Exactly.
Because now we have, I believe, the 17 to 19 early colleges in our city. Kids are graduating with their associates after 2 years. So it's and furthermore, they go on to UTIP
Right.
as seniors. They're now graduated with their associates, with juniors in high school, and during their senior year, they're working on their junior year of college.
Right.
So it just you look at that and you realize when you put students in a situation to succeed,
Right.
they will.
So that theme sounds like that, you started and tapped into, motivated you to keep going. And it was like, okay, it's not just one set of students right now. I've got to impact even more. And I love that you use the same type of philosophy with your teachers. It's the adults who really need it, because then they turn around and motivate the students you're trying to get to. So it sounded like that continued that theme. So then from early college, going into that setting, what broadened your horizon there?
Here's I think a great story, because we have everyone, I believe, knows Dr. Natalicio.
Yes.
And because of the work we did at the early college, they quickly embraced what we were doing and wanted to make that part of what they did, right? So what we did is we took, and they came to visit, and they saw the work that was done. And lo and behold, she asked me if I'd be willing to join them. So after 6 years of being at the early college, seeing 2 graduating classes, I was asked to be part of the UTEP faculty or staff, and I became the assistant provost. And the intent there was to how do we impact just not those in this early college, but how do we impact all students? And so talk about being in that position, right? And so that's where I was real proud of that moment. I was proud of the fact that the work that had been done had been noticed by someone like Dr. Natalicia.
Yeah, that's a big
huge
deal.
It is who embraced it, right? And said, you know what, why don't you come work for us, and let's see if we can't expand.
Like multiply what you
Yeah,
already
and
do so well.
Scale what you do. And so, yeah, we started doing that. But what was interesting is I did that for 2 years. But then the superintendents I started working with through that are the ones that encouraged me to apply for the job I have now.
That's amazing.
They're the ones that said, you know what, you need to be, this is great, because you help us quite a bit, but you would help us more if you were at the service center.
You were over here.
And so that's what happened. And that's what happened, and I was very fortunate to be selected.
Yes.
And I was, and so now, the rest is history, But actually, it's not history because we're still writing the book.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the story's not done yet.
And the story
Yeah.
you're telling is what we look at in special education under transition, talking about give the student the opportunity, let them succeed, then how can I impact elsewhere? And you just grow and grow and grow until you end up with what I assume is your dream job. I don't know if you're looking for something else, right?
This
Looking
is-
for another
this is-
chapter.
This is definitely something that I'm very proud of, and I
Right.
think we're in a position, and I say we're because you guys are part of that team, where we can really impact and have a positive push for student success.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
that's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, that's definitely something we sense there. So knowing when you were going in, what did you know about the Education Service Center? Like what was how did that grow in your understanding of what it is? Because there's still people, and one of the reasons we're here at KFOX that we really want to promote what we do at the Education Service Center is so people understand what it is. Because I still get asked, what district do you work for? And I'm like,
you work for ep10, right?
support everybody. So how did you know about the service center? What did you know about it?
Well, I'll be honest. When I first was a principal, and I thought of the Region Service Center, I would think more of media services.
Okay.
Helping in that capacity.
Yeah.
If you needed microphones, or if you needed video cameras, that would be the place to go. And
Do you
get
think that ties because of your journalism experience? Like you relied on the service center for that kind of support?
That's a very good possibility. That's why that was the service I saw, and that's
Right.
hence why I saw it for that. But it wasn't until I was at Missionary College that I started seeing a little more and seeing the value that it brought. Definitely by the time I got to UTEP, and I was assistant provost there, and the meetings with the superintendents and the meeting with my predecessor, who was part of that, we would get together and have conversations. And then I started seeing what they brought to the table. But I also saw what they could bring to the table.
Ah, there we go. I like that.
And
yeah.
I think that's kind of what, when the opportunity came up, at first I was not too sold on the idea, because I thought I can help from here.
Right.
But the more I talked to the superintendents, the more they convinced me that there's more we can do there. And so they're right. They're right. I mean, being at the service center now, what I've noticed is that it wasn't already in place. There's a lot of great things happening,
Yes.
but to your point, no one knew about it. And that really continues to be the charge, right?
Yes.
How do we expand our base? How do we get more people to understand the value of what the service center brings? I think that more and more we're more relevant to what districts do. We help them
Yes.
in more capacities. The superintendents see who we are and what we are. There is a board member who put it nicely. She said, there is a time where people would ask her, have you worked with the service center? She'd say, why Region 19? And then she goes, now, fast forwarding, she says, now I say, why not Region 19?
Yes.
And this is the same, one of many board members, right? So we work the gamut. We work with the boards, we work with the superintendents, the principals, the teachers, the parents, the students.
Yes.
So there's, to include bus drivers, to include custodial staff. If they work in the school districts, there's opportunity for us to train them. Their nutrition, their cafeteria, anyone having to do with education or working with students in any capacity, somehow, some way, we have our finger on it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that's an important piece. So we've been fortunate that people call and say, they have a question regarding certain things, and then of course we can send them to the right department. Say, fill them in, tell them all about this.
Yeah.
And so it's been great. I think we're in a good place, but we want to continue building on that. And what we want to do, and I'm glad we're doing this, we want the community to realize we're here for them.
Yes.
Regardless. Matter of fact, taking a step further, we work with all students, to include students from charter schools,
Yes.
students from parochial schools, even in some capacities the private schools, because being students in our community means that they fall under our umbrella. And so we're going to make sure that they get what they need. And so we do work with various, in some cases indirect, but in most cases it's a direct approach to what we do with everybody. And I think special ed is a great way of looking at how we tie with everybody, because we have students who
Yes.
are in private schools who need services. And so they'll turn around and send them to the public school, and we accommodate.
Right.
And we do it for the right reasons for the student.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and I think all of us got, at least in this room right now,
Right.
in these three chairs, got into education for the reasons that you just explained. It's not about, oh, this is what I do, or, oh, I'm a teacher. No, we're in it because we don't mind rolling up our sleeves and getting in there with the students, and because we know what the process is. We know what the outcome needs to be. And I mean, let's face it, they're the ones that are going to be running the country and picking our nursing homes in a few years.
Exactly.
Yes.
So maybe it's for selfish reasons, right?
Right.
We want to make
Maybe
sure.
a little,
Yeah.
It's a little investment in our future. Yes.
Sometimes they'll ask me, why do you do it? And I kind of find myself saying, well, maybe it's for selfish reasons, But all kidding aside, the more we do for them, the better off we'll be too. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win, and obviously, they'll benefit from the work we're doing, and they'll start seeing the values, and they'll be able to take off. One of the things that I think is also important when it comes to working with students is this idea of all students, right? We're fortunate, when it comes to our region. If you compare us to other regions throughout, and there's 20 of them throughout our state.
We're the best, but there's 20.
If we're not biased, right? No, but
It's the truth.
There's some facts to go right along with it, right? To support our stance, and one of them that we're most proud of is the fact that we have, for instance, the highest number of students who apply for post-secondary school, and that's critical. Now, is it high enough? No, not yet. Really, as far as I'm concerned, and it's a charge that we have with the community as well, more importantly with the superintendents in every district, is how do we get every student to be post-secondary ready? Yes. How do we have every student? When I say every, I mean every student, not just those who fall in various categories. I'm saying all students. Put them in a position, and notice I say post-secondary because it doesn't necessarily mean a four-year university.
Right?
Yeah.
It could be a 2-year program. It could be a certification. It could be an opportunity for a student to have a career moving forward. And if we can do that for them, then we've done our part.
Exactly.
And so that really has become a kind of like a thought that we keep in our forefront, that we need to make sure that whatever it takes to do that is what we do. Of course, the pandemic got in the way, right? Yeah. And so that set us back a little bit. But we're quickly talking about that again. We're looking at it because we are already the highest in the state, but we shouldn't consider that a success story because it needs to be higher than, I believe we're at 75%. We should be closer to 100%.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, that's what I tell the superintendent. We should think in terms of 100%.
Yeah.
Is it, am I kidding myself? Well, but that should be the target. Anything less than that is us selling the kids short.
I agree, and
that's
you're
our
saying
target.
all students. So it's not unreasonable to think that your valedictorian to your student receiving special education services and some intense support services can't have a post-secondary experience because, like you said, it's not four-year university. It is 2-year technical certification. When we had the freeze in Texas almost a year ago now. nobody called the engineer that screwed up the power grid.
The grid, right.
They were calling the plumber, the electrician, the welder, the carpenter, and those guys were making $150,000 a year because of that skilled trade.
Because of their skills. No,
Yes.
definitely. I think that's where we're at now. But the great news is that our districts, they get it. They get it. That's the push. We have those conversations. We meet monthly, and those conversations always are never about why. It's all about how.
Yes.
And we're pushing that envelope. And so it's on us too as the service center to continue helping them do that for students, because they do have a lot on their plate. I mean, they have quite a bit on their plate, covering various subgroups and making sure that they do well. So we need to make sure that we keep the eye on the ball and that we, and on the prize, as they say,
Yes.
and make sure that we do what's right for all students. So I'm excited about that, because we are hitting the class when it comes to that, but we're not satisfied. And you know that by just talking to the superintendents, they're wanting to push the envelope more. So
Right.
I'm happy for us as a community. Know that everyone is pushing for that. But and I feel confident that we'll continue pushing that number up and up and up, and soon enough, we'll hit that 80, 85, 90%.
Yes.
Which is what we should do.
It's
nice to know
very
we have those
possible.
bragging rights too, that we have the
Yes.
highest post-secondary. I'm gonna have to tuck that in my pocket for later.
Use that. But I think it's really important, and what you touched on too is, understanding what the Education Service Center is while you're coming up. It's, to Leah's point, like it's what you're needing it for in that moment, right? And then as you broaden and it becomes something you're like, well, I think I'm going to work there. I know it's my dream job. And I always took it as what a great opportunity, and kind of what you were saying, now I can reach even more people and inspire them to do what I enjoy doing so much. And that's making sure everybody has that opportunity and chance.
Yeah.
So I am so excited. We're all speaking the same language. And I love that you were here with us so you could showcase where it is we work and who's above us, but walking side by side with us. So we really do appreciate that about you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
It's been great, and we're fortunate because we're walking right along with our districts.
Yes.
And I think that's what's made us a little more impactful and more effective, because there are other service centers around that, unfortunately, they're having to juggle, different things.
Right.
And for us, it's not about juggling. It's more about, aligning and continue to push those expectations. And so we see it.
And I think with your leadership too, you've also brought in that aspect of we're customer service. We built those relationships, and once you build them and establish them, that network, that support, the district's willingness to bring us in to partner with us and to help develop trainings, I think goes a long way. But those relationships that we've all established, I think, speak volumes, and it's under your leadership that we've kind of had that guidance of, hey, make sure you're taking that extra minute to stop and say, how are you? What can I do? Do you need anything? Where are you at?
Yeah. No, that's so true. I mean, because our successes are their successes,
Right.
but their shortfalls are our shortfalls, and that's how I see it, right? So we always have to continue building those relationships, making sure that we're all on the same page, and understanding that if there's something that they need, then we need to make sure that we give it to them, and we do what's right for them, and we fix it. So that to me has been the approach I've used throughout. I mean, when it comes to my educational career and professional career, right?
Right.
It's just always try to do what's right for those around you, and try to see if you can get more mileage out of those that work with you, then those who are going to benefit are going to be the students, and ultimately that's the goal.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. But we thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's been
it
a
wasn't
pleasure.
too bad, right?
Oh, it's over?
No, you're super happy. I love that. That's what we get from everybody. See, it's not too bad.
This is great. I'm so glad you guys are doing this, making people aware of the various fractions of education, because it's like we were saying earlier, right? It all ties together.
Yeah.
And so you'll hear from other people, and you've heard from others. And so if you put them, and it's a puzzle, even if they don't say anything about the others, if you just listen close enough, there's that puzzle, and it becomes, they're just pieces of the puzzle that
Right.
make the whole.
Yeah, we all need
That
each
makes
other.
sense.
So,
Yeah, for
and that's
sure.
very evident where we work. We all come together
Yeah.
with the same goal in mind. So we appreciate that. So we're glad you're here to represent.
Yeah.
Thank you all so
Yeah.
much. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
vibes only. Our 19
Yeah.
Sped
Good
Lounge.
vibes, good vibes.
Yeah. Thanks. And thanks for coming and
Thank you for letting me
we miss Miss
co-host.
Marvelous
I-
Melissa,
right,
but
I
thank
know.
you so much for sitting
I'm glad
in.
I could fill in.
Yes.
The Special Education Information Center is proud to provide resources and interactive features to help bridge the partnership between schools and families. Live chat with experts as we help you understand your child's disability, your rights, and what options are available to you. Spedtext.org.
I'm feeling the good vibes, good vibes.
The preceding program was a paid commercial which has been paid for by the advertiser whose products and/or services are featured in this program.